Lives of the Navajo, Apache, Ute, and Pueblo artists living within Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico. Tune in every third Thursday of the month at 9:30 a.m. or find podcast episodes. Native Art Voices of the Four Corners, great artist stories are the journey of art in the Four Corners.
.54 Monday morning on KSJE. It's time for our Monday Reboot segment. Lewis Campbell is joining us remotely this morning with the video link, and let's see if we can see and hear him this morning. Lewis, good morning.
How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. And there you are. And now we can see you and hear you. How are you doing?
Hello, everybody.
So, we have a few minutes this morning together. So, what have you noticed over the last week or so?
Starlink,
Yeah.
a security researcher. Now, this is not a hacker, black hat hacker person. This is someone that's actually paid under Starlink's bounty program. Was able to figure out how to hack Starlink dishes with $25 worth of off-the-shelf parts. So that that's a first for Starlink. They're gotten to the point where they're hackable now.
Right.
But they know what it is, so they know how to fix it. But it's just an interesting little bit of news, and I think we're gonna, we'll start to see that with Starlink and other satellite providers. People will figure out how to hack the digital satellite security and tap into that signal.
Yikes. And so were they able to access people's private information or just access the ISP service? Do you know?
Well, theoretically, they could basically access whatever you're sending back and forth on your individual Starlink net. So
I see. They're able to monitor the traffic.
Yep.
Aha. So whatever that is, if you're streaming Netflix, there's that, or if you're sending out text documents, there's that.
Right. So again, this was done by a security researcher that's actually being paid under the bounty program that Starlink has out. So it's not like they actually hacked real data. They were, probably using some kind of test signal or something like that when they did the research.
Right. I got it. Understood. So that they were kind of expecting maybe some of this, or working with them, right? Working with the hacker and the company to figure this out.
Yes, sir.
Got it. All right. Well, that makes me less anxious about that news. But still, what else is going on?
Well, this an interesting piece. I don't know if this qualifies really as news, but it's an interesting piece of information. There's a gentleman, guy named Robert Sansone. He's a 17-year-old. He has figured out how to build a motor without rare earth magnets. Now, if you don't understand why that's important, it is a little explanation here. Right now, the country's moving real heavily towards electric vehicles and all kinds of other electric stuff. Now, these things depend on motors, and the largest expense for an electric motor is the rare earth minerals that have to go into the magnets that are part of the motor. And so he kind of started off, it was kind of like a science fair deal. He kind of started off researching, how can I build something that doesn't require these rare earth magnets to bring the cost down? And he's been able to come up with that. He used an old scientific theory, I want to call it. I'm probably using the wrong lingo, but he was able to build a motor. Got it up to 1800 RPM. Right now, the prototype he's built doesn't have nearly the power that like an electric motor in a Tesla does. But that's really because he was limited in terms of budget and materials, based on what he was doing so far. Now he's gotten a grant, from what I understand, to go farther. So maybe he'll come up with a prototype, and maybe in some amount of years, he can, or somebody can come up with an actual motor that has the same power as the electric motors they use in Teslas and other vehicles, and not use the rare earth minerals.
Right.
Not to mention, it's also good for the environment too, right? Because I don't know how many people know this, but a big part of the problem with electronics right now is disposal, because you've got a lot of these rare earth minerals that once the electronic device is not useful anymore, what do you do with this stuff? You can't really dump it in a landfill without, poisoning the groundwater and stuff like that. So it's been a big problem.
Right. Well, and I think cost
Yeah.
too is another big thing because electric vehicles, while they're have certain benefits, the price point has kind of kept them out of reach for a lot of folks.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
very good. There's one story I'm noticing from NBC about some Apple employees who are suing or launching a petition, pardon me, about the company's return to office plan. I guess some of the Apple workers would like to stay working from home if they can, and so there's a petition
Yep.
underway maybe to have the company rethink their policies about that.
COVID's changed how we do work in the workplace, and people are not as willing to do some of these things. So yeah, this is on the heels of Apple announcing to its employees in their headquarters in Cupertino, California, that they're going to be required to be in the office at least 3 days a week.
Yeah.
A lot of companies are doing that. The company that I work for, that at this time gives me it's in Phoenix and I live in Shiprock, right? So they give me stay at home, work from home, 100%, you know, ability, but that's because of the position I hold in the company. For a lot of the people in my company, they started announcing that they have to be at work 3 days a week,
Wow,
or at
yeah.
the office 3 days a week as well. So,
Right.
it's coming.
True, very true. A lot of companies are talking about that, and so we'll see what happens. Well, Lewis, we're just about out of time this week, but thank you so much for joining me. I kind of like that work from home policy that you have because that means you get to be with me on Mondays, so I like it.
Yep.
Very good.
Have a great week, everyone.
All
Thanks.
right, you too. Thank you, Lewis Campbell. We'll see you next Monday. That is Lewis Campbell from Cintigy Computer Systems. He joins me on Mondays, and we talk technology news on KSJE Farmington.
John Lienhard with The Engines of Our Ingenuity.